Okay, so here we are at the property, and I think, 1628 4th Street. So here we are at the curbside, and I'm going to do a little bit of a sort of panorama of the neighborhood, just so you can kind of see what all it looks like from the property. We are right at the foot of the foothills here, so you can see, and we're right at the corner of 4th and Marine, where both streets end at that corner. So we're right up against the mountains here. Variety of home types. I guess I should say they're mostly single family, but you can see some variance in the architecture, variance in quality, and so forth. If we look at the neighbors, this neighbor to the south, fairly decent looking house. This neighbor to the north looks kind of like a similar, maybe looks like it would be a rental property at this point, or someone who is fine with sort of the older style and not being updated. And let's go into the house, and actually, before we do, let's take a quick look from the outside. So, shot a video of this a little bit earlier, but the siding is certainly ripe for an update. Color, some wear and tear, looks like weather-wise, and you know, this stack here just looks a little bit kind of makeshift. I would think something else could be done better there. See, the soffit here just looks a little shaky, and so I think we got potential to improve property by doing something with the siding, at the very least a coat of paint, but I'm guessing it may be worth investing more. As far as the yard goes, pretty decent actually so far here in the front. We can see it's mostly grass. We got some, I don't know if you call these shrubs, bushes, whatever, and this grand old tree here, which looks like it's been fairly well cared for, which is always good expense-wise. Trees can be a real expense to maintain if they haven't been. And looking at the other side from the front, you can see we've got a little bit of sort of an alleyway here. You can see the shed towards the far back. And again, more, you know, you can see more wear and tear here on this siding. Clearly that would give it better curb appeal. Okay, let's go inside. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here, and we'll start another one on the way in. Okay, so here we are at the property, and I'm looking at the siding, and we can see that there is definitely going to need to be something, if this is going to be anything but a rental property. Now, if it's a rental property, that's a different story. However, at this price range and what it would actually rent for, and the payments that you'd be making, doubtful this really would be great for a rental property unless you're really into a long-term hold. So again, you can see the siding. We've got these little seams over the window, this vertical strip type siding, not all that attractive, a little beat up, possibly a coat of paint here, but I'm guessing if we're going to market this thing at over $2 million, it's going to need something else, and at the very least a coat of paint. All right, let's see how this video turns out. Okay, here we are at the porch, and it's a nice little front porch. Look at that gorgeous place. Here we are, 1628. Not sure who chose the yellow color here, but maybe that's just my own taste. At any rate, looks like we have some kind of a double pane. Looks like these were installed clearly after I think it was 25 when this house was built. Okay, here we are in the entry. Looks like this would be, and by the way, it smells okay, which you never know when you're going into a fixer. Say hi, Grace.
Hi.
All right, so we've got a little bit of a entry closet here that looks like it was probably installed after the fact, sort of thing. This could use a little work for sure. The doors grinding against the floor. Got some dated looking tile here. And the front, access to, looks like utility room, yeah. Again, we got, you know, this, the fact that we've got some cracks in the tile here, and the fact that this door is not opening all the way, tells me, yeah, and we got some cracks here as well. We may have some settling issues here. Okay, we've got a water heater that looks not terribly ancient. A little bit of a utility closet. Okay. All right, and venting here. Okay, and then we've got, Megan, do you know if it has a crawl space or a basement?
I can find that out. Let's see.
So I think what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and, oh, let's do one more thing before we close out the video here. Maybe this is where we discover, nope, just a little storage closet, yeah. Okay. Right, so there we have the porch and I guess you'd call this living room entry. This little built-in knick-knack thingy here. Although again, looking at some separation on these joints, I don't know if that would be of concern or not. The carpet is okay for rental. I think it would probably, almost certainly need some kind of different flooring in here if we're talking 2 million plus. All right, we'll end this part here. Actually, let's just take a look at this little stairway thing. That's kind of interesting. Looks like the second floor was added on. All right, we are now moving on to the rest of the house. So into this little sort of hall area. First thing we see is the bathroom on the right. And it looks like this would be a bedroom here. We'll come back to these areas. And then moving on, we've got a kitchen area. And I guess you would call this sort of dining and or, you know, maybe possible den, great room, office space. Clearly in need of cosmetic updates if this is going to be anything but a rental. What's interesting is we've got these vaulted ceilings here. And you can see there's a difference between where the second floor is over the kitchen and this vaulted ceiling here, which is probably hard to see from this video, but anyway, there's a vaulted ceiling over this, I guess what you call dining area. And we're now into bedroom 2, or whatever, of the other bedroom, a bedroom. This bedroom has a vaulted ceiling also. And your basic closet. Okay, I'm feeling, now you can't see this in the video, but the floor has some kind of roll to it here, a little bit of unevenness in the floor. These windows are double pane, a little dated, but they could be cleaned up a bit. Again, maybe acceptable for rental property, but longer term, permanent residence, probably not so much. Nice little stairway to the outside that you can see here, and you also get a sense of what the neighborhood looks like from the backyard. I'll come back to that. Yeah, just was noticing some other cracks here. Some more, these are just drywall tape cracks if I'm not mistaken. Not necessarily a concern. Okay, let's take a look at the kitchen here. Let's look at this interesting little backsplash or whatever to the range. Again, adequate set of appliances. Well, this is interesting. Look at this little, I guess this is the idea behind this is to be a bar sink for the rec room, great room, dining area, whatever we're calling this. main sink here, window view out to the north, the neighbor's house there. And we've got cabinets that are functional and would probably want to get replaced if we're talking a couple million for a house. All right, so that is, let's continue here. So, okay, here I guess we've got laundry area, washer dryer. Actually, kind of a nice arrangement being close to the kitchen there, I would guess. And before we move on, let's look at these other rooms. So here's the other bedroom, the one that we passed a little earlier. Let's get some light in here. If we can, well, maybe not. Anyways, here's the view from that bedroom. And we've got your basic closet here. Looks functional. This room does not have a vaulted ceiling, just an 8-foot ceiling. And again, same type of carpet. Could probably use different flooring for an upgrade. Again, interesting to note some cracking here. I'm not sure what that means, but always something to consider. So this is the other bathroom. We've got a double sink, decent amount of space. Doesn't feel too crowded. It's dated tile tub here. Looks like it could be rescued. And nice little hutch there. Let's see how the door closes. Okay, so that's working okay. There's your basic bathroom. And I think that is going to conclude the main level. We'll go upstairs now. Okay, we are heading up the stairs here from the main entry area. I don't know if these stairs would meet code or not. We do have some more cracking here. Interesting configuration with kind of open spacing, which is kind of cool. Let's see what we got up here. All right. I'm interested in seeing how doors close, especially given what we saw earlier. That one's fine. Okay, this would be the bedroom. And again, we have a nice vaulted ceiling here. It's pretty cool. And appears to be open to the bathroom on the other side. We have what I guess would be kind of a space for the bed under this little lighting configuration. And got this arched doorway into the bathroom. Here's the view from the bedroom looking west. And we've got basic outlets. This wall surface is not, it doesn't have the kind of texture that you would expect to see in a modern residence. And here we are now in this kind of little space between the bedroom and the bathroom. I guess if we were to put it into marketing speak, this would be a sitting room perhaps, or a library, whatever. And so, pretty spectacular view here, looking up the mountainside. If you like looking up the mountainside, sometimes it's nice to look from the mountainside to down and out. But anyways, these are pretty noteworthy views, although the roof of the neighbor is probably predominant. All right, and now, again, this little open area over the, looks like the closet. Let's see. Okay, it looks like it must be a shelf above because there's just a flat ceiling here in this closet area. And then the master bath. Pretty humble actually for a master bath for a $2 million home, I would say. Everything here would need to be placed. It's a nice little skylight. Again, kind of dated fixtures and surfaces. And just noting some cracking here, not sure what that's all about. And the floor here, tile. Again, dated, but no cracking there, so that's a good sign. Otherwise, I think we are done with the tour inside the house. I'm kind of curious what goes above here. Maybe that's just some kind of storage, flat area that stuff could be stored. Okay, back downstairs and to the outside. Okay, let's take a peek at this backyard. Okay, if we can, get this door. Let's see. There we go. Kind of smart, isn't it? The door appears to open okay. So this little stairway and a little slate, or not slate, but flagstone patio. I think the whatever that. Well, it looks like it's filled with in between with sand. I think this would probably need to get replaced. And the ground cover, it doesn't have any kind of lawn or anything like that, so probably this could use some serious landscape work. The shed is okay for rental, probably not for a $2 million home, if that's where we're pointing this property. And looks like this fence needs replaced or repaired at the very least. Again, not much in the way of ground cover here. And as far as the view, everything from the backyard, this is what it looks like. You can see some mountains in the background, but predominated by neighboring properties. And this ugly old whatever shed next door. That's kind of interesting. What else have we got? Yeah, and then this looming house in the backyard overlooking the yard. Not great. And again, this fence. This fence back there looks okay. And the one to the north looks like it's in need of repair. Perhaps replacing this wire fence with something to provide a little more privacy would be in order. And otherwise, I'm not sure what these trees are. They look like junk trees, I'm going to guess. And several, if not, maybe even all of them, would need to be removed. Not sure what you would replace them with. It's probably nice to have some kind of visual border between the backyard and the next door neighbor. With these wires overhead, the power pole here. Again, not super scenic. And this is just from the backyard looking up this side yard and the side of the house. Take a quick peek at the side from the back here. I haven't really seen that in front. And again, looks like yeah, just this vertical panel siding. I forget what that's called, but I believe that there's a lot of improvement possibility for that. Let's just say, looking at the soffits, let's see how old this roof is. But it looks like maybe some. Roof looks okay from the side here, but the soffits are showing some. Watch my step here. The soffits are showing some water damage, so we probably want to take a look at drainage off the roof. Make sure that's all set up properly. Otherwise, yeah, and again, I think these windows are okay. I don't know if we would keep those for a $2 million house. Probably they would be replaced. Okay, we're going to go ahead and end this video. I wanted to come back and just take a look at this foundation here. So it looked like we had some air leakage. That's pretty typical in an older foundation like that. Perhaps a previous entry to the crawl space here, but it appears to be sealed at this point. And you can see that the foundation, at least in this portion of the house, was a block foundation. Now up toward the front, it's a little harder to tell. Looks like there's some type of a concrete footer there or something. But anyway, that's what that looks like there. Let's go around to the other side so we can also get a view there. I'm looking at the view from the back here. All we can see is just a little bit below that siding. And again here, similar, the siding kind of covers up some of the block here. And we do have some, maybe predominantly block foundation. And it looks like this bath might have been, it probably was added at some point. Anyway, there we go, that's the foundation.